Good morning, colleagues of the press, and welcome to this executive media availability of the Nile Conference Group Phase. To tip it off, I'll introduce NBA Africa CEO Claire Akamanzi for her remarks. Good morning, Claire.
Good morning, Edwin. Good morning, everyone. It's so nice to be back in Kigali, where we started our BAL Season 1. We're here today for the 5th season, launching in Kigali, not 5th season, but Nile Conference here in Kigali. It's a really big milestone to be in a 5th anniversary. I think that really shows two things. For me, reflecting on where we started and where we are today, those two things that I think about are, one, growth. If you see where we've come and where we are today, I think if we're to pick one word that summarizes where BAL is today, for me that word is growth. The other word that very much describes where we are today is partnerships. I think the reason that we've been able to, succeed and get to the 5th season is also because of partnerships that we've had along the way, including here in Rwanda with some of our key partners like Rwanda Development Board, as well as other partners we have like Jordan Brand, Nike, Wilson, and Hennessy, Casolite, and Rwandair. And so reflecting on where we've come and celebrating, 5th season Nile Conference, which is, the 3rd conference that we've had for this season, for me, it's a really remarkable and exciting phase to be in today. But let me also take this time to welcome you members of the media here that have come to engage with this moment today. I also want to recognize one key partner for us, which is FIBA. As you know, BAL is a partnership between NBA and FIBA. And again, the growth and the partnership that I talked about describing where we are today very much is also because of the partnership we have with FIBA. Now, I also want to just reflect on the first 2 conferences we've had for this season, and that's the Kalahari Conference in Morocco, as well as the Sahara Conference that we just came from in Dakar, Senegal. What we've seen in those 2 countries and in those 2 conferences has again confirmed the growth and partnership that we really see even this year. We see growth in the numbers of fans that come to watch the games. We see growth in the number of viewers that we have across different platforms. We see growth in every metric that we follow. And for us, that is really satisfying to be here today. That growth and expansion reflects exactly what NBA's commitment is. And our commitment is to grow the game of basketball in Africa and to support Africa's aspiration to grow its sports industry, which we very much believe in as well. Now, I want to finish by just reflecting on what that growth means for us and what impact we've seen over the last years. We just concluded a socioeconomic impact study looking at the impact that BAL has had on the African continent for the last 4 seasons, not including the current season that's ongoing. And 2 key messages there. One is that BAL is actively contributing to GDP of economies of Africa. The contribution that we've seen for the first the first 4 seasons in the countries particularly that have hosted BAL is $250 million, which we think is significant in contributing to drive economic growth and productivity for these countries. The second one is jobs. For our youth, Africa is a very youthful continent, and we've seen BAL contributing to 37,000 jobs that are linked to BAL's existence. And in terms of the next decade, we see the GDP growth growing from $250 million to $5.4 billion. And we see the jobs linked to BAL growing from 37,000 to 650,000 in the next decade. That is going to be significant in being part of economic transformation of Africa. Now, also in terms of, we continue to see basketball courts growing. Our goal is to build 1,000 courts over the next 10 years. And in this week that will be in Kigali, we'll also be launching some of our courts as well that contributes to that number. But all in all, we've seen great feedback. We've seen the fans really enjoying what they see and experiencing our game on the court, but also all the many events that we have off the court as well. The other point that I want to finish with is also merchandise. We have growth in merchandise that we're selling across the different markets that we're going to. But the key message we want to announce also is that we now have BAL merchandise available online. And if you go to balstore.nba.com, you can purchase a BAL merchandise and have one at home with you. So that said, we are very excited to be back in Kigali. We're excited to see what BAL continues to do, which is transforming lives, economies, and communities. And we are looking forward to a very great, exciting conference in Kigali as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Claire Murakuzi. I'll now turn it over to Basketball Africa League President Amadou Galifal. Good morning, Amadou.
Good morning, Edwin. Good morning, everyone. It's great to see you all. It's always special to be back here in Kigali, where it all began for us in 2021, in the middle of the pandemic. We're super excited for this milestone 5th season, and this is also a historic moment because we're bringing for the first time in Kigali conference game phase with our Nile conference being played here at Bank of Kigali Arena. We got to Kigali riding an incredible momentum in terms. I know we talked about momentum after every season, and that's what you want to see, right? When you're building from building a league from the ground up. Every year we've seen improvement. And where we are today, coming from Rabat, Morocco, where we played for the first time in a new country, and then sustaining the incredible energy and fun, engagement, and all the activities, the competition on the court with those 4 teams in our Kalahari conference. Taking that to Dakar with our Sahara conference, with packed arena, with incredibly excited fans, great competition on the court. We had overtime games, buzzer beaters, new players emerging, on the scene, and this is what this league does. And I'm thinking about the young man from the NBA Academy, so young man from 17-year-old from Nigeria, Umar, and just following in the footsteps of Ulrich Chamche, who got drafted straight from the NBA Academy and playing in the BAL, Haman Malwaj, also young players from our Elevate program that have participated in the BAL. We continue to be a showcase and a launching pad for these young players, all trained and really matured their talent here on the African continent before they moved on and now doing big things. Another young man who was in that group, Ruben Chinelu, also from the NBA Academy, won the NCAA championship with the University of Florida. Just to highlight the fact that, as Claire mentioned also, our mission remained to grow the game, from grassroots to elite. We have the elite level today with the Basketball Africa League sitting at the top of the pyramid, but we are continuing to identify young talent and groom this talent right here on the continent, and allowing this talent to either play professionally in the Basketball Africa League, or when they go to other leagues, there has to be at the ultimate level. So that's what this league have been able to do in a short period of time that it existed. 75,000 fans came to our games across Rabat and Dakar. So that momentum, we are really looking forward to seeing it here in Kigali, where this afternoon we will tip off our Nile conference that is going to be incredibly exciting, as we have 3 new teams here, first-time teams participating. The Nairobi City Thunders from Kenya for the first time sending a team in the Basketball Africa League, and Made by Basketball, you gotta love this name, from South Africa, coming in for the first time, but we've had a team from South Africa the past 3 seasons in the Cape Town Tigers. And then you have Al Ahly from Libya and Tripoli coming in for the first time. They will be facing APR that is coming into the Basketball Africa League for the second year. I'm pretty sure they will be able to count on the excitement that we always see here at BK Arena. By the way, we're sold out today. We'll play in full capacity. That is the trend that we've really seen from Rabat opening day to Dakar also, sold out games, beautiful crowd coming in, incredible performances also. What makes the league unique is everything that happens around the game. We continue to really focus on the core of what we do, which is basketball. So we want to make sure that we continue to have incredible talent on the court, top-level coaches, top referees, and obviously, the best talent in Africa performing, but also we use the convening power of basketball to bring in entertainment, to bring in, fashion and music. So at halftime today, King Promise, the Ghanaian superstar, will be playing here at BK Arena. And on May 24th, we're going to have a concert. This is the first time where Bruce Melody, Kigali's own, will perform with BNXN, for May 24 in a special concert right here at BK Arena. We'll continue to have our flagship events. There's an innovation summit that we've run. This will be the 4th edition. We'll have that on May 21st. It's always an opportunity to bring thought leaders, across business, technology, and sports to have a conversation that are all geared to moving our continent forward. The partnership with Special Olympic will continue to be featured. We continue to demonstrate that we are an inclusive league that believe that all segments of society should be involved and get involved in the industry we're looking to build. Our BAL for Her Careers in Sports workshop will also take place. It is, again, BAL for Her is our platform to promote gender equality and making sure that the incredible sports business industry that we want to anchor is going to be accessible to women. Super excited, again, just sharing Claire's, thanks and also acknowledgement of our partner FIBA. Thank you to our brother Desiree, the president of Ferwaba, for the incredible and consistent support. So we're looking forward to welcoming fans, just encouraging fans to come through with their energy, their passion, because we are going to serve them with an incredible competition on the court. I trust that our players and our teams are ready and excited. We already have 5 teams that we know have punched the tickets to the finals and playoffs in Pretoria next month from June 6 to June 14. From the Kalahari Conference, we had Al-Ittihad from Alexandria and Rivers Hoopers from Nigeria that qualified. Out of the Sahara Conference, we had Monastir, US Monastir, that was our 2022 BAL champion that qualified. Also Petro Atletico de Luanda, last year's champion, that qualified along with Creole Star, a first team participant from Cape Verde. So we're still waiting for, obviously, the top 2 teams here will qualify, and also the best 3rd place team that will qualify to round up our final 8 in Pretoria. With that, thank you, and back to you, Edwin. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Amadou. Claire and Amadou now takes questions. Dear colleagues of the press, please state your name, your media organization, and to whom your question is directed. We have a microphone in the room. Question? Yeah. Please state your name, your media affiliation, and to whom your question is directed. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Edwin, and good morning, everyone. Thank you for putting together this press conference. My name is Abi Agina. I work for CNBC Africa and also Forbes Africa. Just some quick questions on my end to Claire. In regards to the numbers you shared, quite impressive when you look at over space of time. Perhaps give us some more info around the investment in the basketball courts. You did mention you're going to be launching some. How much has gone into this, and what are you seeing in terms of the horizon, in terms of scaling up investments in the sport for the continent? And of course, the other question is in regards to looking at East Africa. We've seen quite a lot of interest in the game. Are you perhaps looking towards deepening partnerships? If you could comment on that. And to Amadou, my question is in relation to, we've seen a lot of players, of course, showing interest to play at the NBA level. Are we seeing a steady transition when it comes to some of our African players crossing over? How solid is this, and what are some of the strategies you're looking at to keep the tempo? Thank you so much.
Thank you. Let Claire take the first set of questions, and then we'll turn it over to Amadou. Thank you, Claire.
Yeah, thank you, Abi, for the question. In terms of investment that we're seeing going in the sports ecosystem and industry, it's across the whole, value chain. We're seeing more investments in the infrastructure that is required to play basketball. Today, we have about 5 arenas on the continent that are ready with the standards of NBA to play. We have 2 that are being built in Nigeria and Benin, but we also have a number of them across the continent that are going to be revamped, or plans to revamp them to bring them to the level that they can play. These investments are, going into these countries partly because they want to be ready for BAL, because they see BAL growing, and we see BAL growing as well. But we're not seeing investments only in hard infrastructure. We are also seeing investments across the different services that support the industry, whether it's marketing agencies, events organizations, and companies. We see that growing. We see investments going there, whether it's in hospitality, across the different countries that we're seeing. All these security organs, for example, that are supporting, the games and tournaments that when we take them to different countries. And so it's really across the whole industry of events and entertainment, hospitality, and basketball coming together, where we're seeing investments going. And this is exactly what we want to see, because this is how we're going to, contribute as an organization to job creation, to transforming economies across the continent. And so the horizon, we see that only growing. Because we're seeing new markets like Morocco. We went to Morocco for the first time this year. And many countries are knocking on our doors and expressing interest to see them host games one day. We're also seeing teams knocking on our doors and saying, we're investing. In fact, even here in Rwanda, we're looking at the local federation, and some of them are saying, we want to also play in BAL one day. We're going to be investing to get there. That's exactly the kind of environment that we want to see grow and build, and it's only going to get better in the next years. Now, your second question was East Africa. Do we see potential to deepen partnerships within the East African region? Absolutely. I'll give you 2 examples. One, Nairobi City Thunders from Kenya is qualifying to come and play in BAL for the first time. And that, for me, that's a big milestone. And that also shows how more countries, again, are aspiring to be part of the BAL story, including Nairobi City Thunders. And if you see the investments they put in, their fans came by bus from Nairobi to come and watch and support their teams here. That's exactly, I think, the growth that we're seeing, including in East Africa. And maybe an example for Rwanda here that I also took note of is we looked at the top 5 countries that were watching games on YouTube in the first 2 conferences, in Morocco and in Dakar. And Rwanda was among the top 5 countries that were watching the games on YouTube. And guess what? There was no Rwandan team playing in Sahara or in Kalahari. But that shows that we have very passionate fans in Rwanda as well, as part of the East African region. So yes, we see growth in East Africa. We see growth in Southern Africa with MBB as a new team coming. We see growth in North Africa with Morocco coming for the first time, and some of the teams coming for the first time. We see growth in Africa. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Claire. Amadou is going to take the next part of the question, which talked about talent retention and the interest from African players to play in the league.
Thank you. So we've been consistent at the NBA in terms of our approach to grow the game on the continent. I think, it's not a coincidence that the number of players from Africa playing in the NBA have increased steadily. Really, if you look at, we want to always look at 2003 as a marker with the first Basketball Without Borders camp that we did in South Africa in partnership with FIBA, and it's the occasion also to again, have some thoughts for our departed brother Dikembe Mutombo, the NBA's global ambassador, because at that Basketball Without Borders camp, the players we had as mentors for the 100 players, young players we brought from over 35 countries, Dikembe was, the lead, and we had the other African players at the time, the same numbers we have here. Our head of league operation, Ruben Bumche, who was at the time playing for the Portland Trailblazers. We had Olumide Oyedeji from Nigeria at the time, Mamadou Ndiaye from Senegal, Dasagana Job from Senegal. I believe the lone U.S. player in the NBA was Michael Curry, right, who was at the time the director of the Players Union. Fast forward, to today, with regard to the number of players, we have almost, I would say, obviously in the NBA, you have 25% of the players coming from outside of the U.S., but I bet you we are probably close to 10% of those players, from Africa. And historically, we've had over 50 players who either were born on the continent or have one parent who born on the continent. So the number of players from Africa in the NBA have risen and is going to continue to rise, but our approach remains to really grow the sport from grassroots to elite. We have the Basketball Africa League today that sits on top of that pyramid, but we are very committed and continuing to invest in youth development through our junior NBA program, the youth clinics we continue to do in partnership with FIBA, and also our NBA Academy through our Elevate program. I talked about, the young man Louis Omo from Creole Star, but before Haman, Malwach, Ulrich Shamche, Ruben Chinolo, we have a pathway, a complete pathway where young people can have access to playing the game, because that's where it all starts. The court bill that Claire talked about is going to give access to young players to start playing the game. We invest in training coaches, just all the elements you need to develop that pipeline of players that can either get to the NBA, and we hope as many of them can get to the NBA, but ultimately, as we continue to grow this league, we're going to retain much of that talent. So yes, the number of players have risen considerably, and it's going to continue to rise in the NBA.
Thank you. Third row question.
Thank you. I'm by name of Rabin Isaac from Isangosta in Rwanda. The first question is, how is the BAL working with the local clubs and federations to ensure sustainable growth of the sports beyond the annual tournament? And a part of infrastructures, what long-term plans does NEBA Africa have to develop in local basketball talents in Rwanda and even East African region through initiative like the BAL? The question of curiosity, as Rwandans, we are happy to have you as a player to lead the NEBA Africa. What the other benefits of Rwanda to have you there? Thank you.
So the first set of questions, are these for Claire or Amadou, or for both?
Amadou, the first one, they asked to for Claire. Thank you.
Thank you.
How do we work with local federation to ensure local development, if I understand it, the local impact? Just a reminder, with the partnership with FIBA to launch the Basketball Africa League, de facto we're working with the individual federations, member federation that constitute FIBA. So everywhere we go, we work with the local federation in capacity building. We do coaches clinic, we do referees clinic, and these happen throughout the course of the year. In every stop of the BAL, I think we host today, Ruben, at least 3 coaches clinic, and I think 4 coaches clinic. So in each market, and then throughout the course of the year, we have referee clinics, some in how you say it, in with physical presence, where we send a lead referee from the US, the G League, and our NBA referee operation to train local referees. And we also have this training also online. You'll see on the court for each BAL game, there's one referee from the G League working, with 2 referees from across Africa. That is part of our referee pool that actually FIBA identify and put them forward for further training. So that's one on the technical piece. And also every summer we take a group of about 25 young coaches to the Summer League in Las Vegas, where they go and have internship within NBA teams. They are fully embedded in these teams, working in practices and games just to further, accelerate and develop their expertise on the coaching side. And we're starting to see impact, and I always point out to, when I come back here in Kigali, to watch the local league. I've seen some games at Lycée de Kigali, which the NBA Africa have helped renovate. Some really exciting games there between the local club, and I see that all the clubs are investing more. Just last night and last year, actually, we were at an event where one of the local bank was signing a partnership with one of the teams here. So to see that, that impact that the league is having in local basketball, that's also, really the goal, because as I say, we are a Champions League. So the stronger the individual club championship in the different countries, the stronger our league is going to be, because we are going to have, stronger champions from, whether they're from Rwanda or Senegal or Egypt or Tunisia. And this is why also we have this year a record 6 new teams coming to play in the league. That means that there is more investment in the clubs. There's more interest from clubs to participate in the league. And yes, the work that we do is certainly inspiring, what happens at the local level. And I can talk about Senegal, where we've had 3 different champions represent since we started the league, and we see it all the teams are, looking to position themselves to win the league, their local leagues, in order to have access to the BAL. Sorry? The long-term project, can you say the question again? There was somebody else.
I'm saying that the long-term project does NBA Africa have to developing local basketball a part of infrastructures?
Well, I mean, I'll pass it to Claire, but I think the project is the project is the same, right? I think there is continuity in terms of what we've always done: focus at grassroots, focus on making the game accessible, and then building capacity. So all those programs we talked about, Claire talked about the 1,000 courts that we committed to build across Africa over the next 10 years, and what we're doing with the coaching program, sending coaches to the Summer League, bringing, coaches here to do all these coaching clinics, across the continent at every BAL stop. But also, in addition, I know that our colleague Joel Yoba from NBA Africa Basketball Operations team is here conducting also coaches clinic, I think at Lycée de Kigali. So those are the, really the steps that we're going to continue to build. And now the heavy infrastructure, this is where, Claire is going to find the money to make sure that we build more of this.
We're going to find the money together. Yeah, okay, so yeah, I think on that point, it's really about capacity building, junior NBA program, expanding that across many countries. Today we're in almost 20 countries, doing that in more countries and deepening in those countries as well. It's a basketball court. But also I think in Rwanda, we have BWB this year in August. It's part of the bigger story that we have. So it's really expanding all of those. But back to your question, your question to me. Obviously, I'm very honored as a Rwandan to be leading NBA Africa. I think it's a huge honor, and I take it that way. But the relationship and partnership between Rwanda and NBA is much bigger than me and much longer than I have been at the NBA Africa. I think what we recognize as NBA Africa is Rwanda was among the first countries to believe in what we were doing. Rwanda was among the first countries that built an arena very quickly and were able to come and play here. Rwanda was also among the first countries that we had a partnership with. We call RDB a founding partner of BAL. And because of that, Rwanda also benefits from this partnership. First of all, hosting the games here. It's the 5th time that Rwanda is hosting the games here. It's the only country that has hosted all the 5 seasons, with the first season being a bubble that happened here in Rwanda. And that contributes directly to Rwanda's vision of MICE, which is really to bring an events economy or a conference economy and an event conventions economy to Rwanda. And I think we've directly contributed to that as BAL, and that's what Rwanda benefits. But what we've also seen over time is that more and more local vendors from Rwanda are contributing to supplying goods and services to BAL, and that's part of the growth as well. What we've also seen in Rwanda and other countries that we've been to is there's the official program, but there's also a lot of ancillary events that entrepreneurs begin to organize on their own, and that brings them also opportunities to really grow their businesses. And all of that together is what a country, in partnering with us, brings or benefits here. But I think the second part of that, for me, or for the story that we've seen in Rwanda, by being a kind of a first mover believer in what we're doing, and in partnership with us, Rwanda has inspired and shown an example that we're also, sharing with the rest of the continent. And many have come to see what's happening here. But we've also seen some of the partnerships, like the one we have with Visit Rwanda, inspiring other countries also to think that they can do the same, and many of them are doing the same. We have new partnerships across the continent. We announced a new partnership beginning of this year in Morocco with UM6P to build basketball programming. We announced with Safaricom last year to build Junior NBA program in Kenya, and many others. In Senegal, when we were there for the Sahara Conference, we announced new partners, Air Senegal, Wave, and Woodside Energy. All this is growth, but I also think that Rwanda being one of the countries that started, we continue to see it as an example, and that's also something that Rwanda contributes to the story. And yes, so Rwanda and NBA, I think, is bigger than me and bigger than just my contribution, but I remain honored to be part of the story.
Thank you, Claire. We'll stay on the third row. So.
Good morning, Claire. Good morning, Amadou. I'm Sonny Armstrong from the Sports Glitz. My first question goes, looking at the global impact on the continental level. The question is to Amadou. Can the BAL today be seen as a feeder, or that competition that can feed our national teams, that the senior sides of, or even the junior sides of each country, with those top players that can actually represent the continent in international competitions, saying at the level where we do not just depend on other competitions to feed our national teams, but the BAL is seen as that competition that actually feeds our national team. Then my question to Claire is, we've mentioned players like Urish, we've mentioned players like Kama, who've moved from either the NBA Academy or from the BAL to playing in other top competitions, and these are the achievements over the past 5 years or this. Now we are looking at the impact beyond this level. How much more can we expect to see more players from this level getting into other competitions apart from our top or elite competitions? Thank you.
Thank you for the question. To be totally blunt, I think our bigger objective, if we were going to be a stepping stone or a feeder to any other level, is really, to your question, how does the work impact the status of African basketball on the global stage? And we're very proud, even in talking to FIBA, that since the league started, we are seeing increased, not only quality but interest in national team competition. I watched this just AfroBasket qualified one of the windows in Dakar. I think that was in November. I know Rwanda was playing there with DRC, Cameroon, Senegal, and I believe Morocco and Gabon. I mean, incredible competition. I saw that the teams, where now players really are looking forward to coming back and playing, playing for their national team. In the last World Cup in Japan and I think Philippines and Indonesia, we had 5 African teams represented. They all won at least a game. I think 2 or 3 of them qualified to the next round. And we talked to FIBA. It's like now you have players staying home to play for their clubs, which make it easier for national teams to gather. Way back in the days when we played, that's how it was. You're playing at home at least once a week. The national team can get together for training. But today, at least in recent past, when you have in some of these countries, most of the players are based, outside. You have a few weeks before a competition to fly in everybody, and to train and go compete. Yes, we want, whether it's through the junior NBA programs, the NBA Academy, because we're identifying talent from all across Africa, bringing them to Sali right now, and hopefully there will be more NBA academies in other parts of the African continent to develop this talent. We want, yes, the best and the top of among them to get to the best league in the world, the NBA, because that means that, bigger spotlight for Africa, and for these players, certainly, bigger earnings and, reinvestment in the African ecosystem. But a big portion of this talent, as our league continue to develop and mature, as our clubs continue to become truly professional, we're going to be able to retain this talent to play at home. So the BAL Elevate program that we talked about, where the top kid players in the at the NBA Academy are matriculated to different teams in the BAL, contributes to the level of competition, and also serves as a pathway for some of these young players that we talked about, who get seen and they are being identified, and they can move on to play in leagues that is going to help actually the overall endeavor that we are undertaking. But we want to make sure that our league and become incredibly competitive when it comes to being able to retain the talents. We don't want, we lament this every year. We have some great young players that come on the stage, they are showcased, they have their first shot by playing in the BAL and being seen. But then, we've seen in early days in the league, some would go play for a third division, in a European country. But we want to make sure that now when those players emerge, like Aliou Diarra from Stade Malien, or Jean-Jacques Boissy from AS Douane, we had Mo Faye, we had a number of other players, Samkelo Sele, from the Cape Town Tigers. We want these players to have the opportunity to stay at home and play. But obviously, the economics have to work, and the whole environment have to become more professional. But we'll get there.
Thank you, Amadou. Claire? I think there was a question. I think there was a follow-up question for Claire.
I think so.
All right. Okay. Good. Thank you. All right. I just want to make sure. So we have a third row, right?
Thank you so much. My name is Frater Ndecha Isenga. I would like to address my question to Monsieur Amadou. Est-ce que vous pouvez nous faire un petit résumé de votre introduction en français pour notre audience francophone, en vous focalisant sur la contribution de la compétition sur le développement du basketball en Afrique? Merci.
Merci pour la question. Non, nous disions que, et aussi je peux parler pour Claire, nous avons voulu exprimer notre grand plaisir de revenir ici à Kigali, où tout a commencé pour nous. Nous avions lancé la Basketball Africa League en 2021 au milieu de la bulle. C'est notre 5e saison, une 5e saison où pour la première fois, nous amenons une conférence, des matchs de conférence ici à Kigali, avec 4 équipes, mais 3 nouvelles équipes qui viennent participer, avec les MBB qui viennent de l'Afrique du Sud, les Nairobi City Thunders qui viennent du Kenya, le Kenya qui participe pour la première fois dans la Basketball Africa League, et aussi Al Ahly de Tripoli, qui vont représenter ces 4 équipes, et les 2 meilleures équipes vont se qualifier pour les finales à Pretoria. Mais aussi, il reste encore une place parce que nous savons qu'il y a 5 équipes qui se sont qualifiées jusqu'ici de notre Kalahari Conference, l'équipe de Al-Ittihad d'Alexandrie et l'équipe de Rivers Hoopers se sont qualifiés du groupe qui a joué au Maroc. Et au Sénégal, où nous avions eu aussi, encore une fois, une Sahara Conference marquée par de très fortes affluences en termes du public, la même chose qu'on avait au Maroc, mais au Sénégal, vraiment, l'énergie qu'on a eue à Dakar Arena, les compétitions, il y a eu 2 matchs qui sont allés en prolongation, il y a eu un match qui a été gagné au buzzer, et ce sont l'US Monastir de la Tunisie qui était champion en 2022, et les Petro Atlético de Luanda qui sont champions sortants, et les Clear Star qui se sont qualifiés. Alors on a 5 sur les 8 équipes attendues à Pretoria qui se sont qualifiés. Juste encore une fois, continuer à remercier tous nos amis de la presse pour leur soutien constant. La Ligue continue de grandir. Nous allons continuer en marge des compétitions sur le terrain. Aussi d'avoir nos activités phares comme l'Innovation Summit qui va avoir lieu le 21 mai. Nous avons notre BAL for Her qui est notre programme d'inclusion pour rendre le milieu, l'environnement de l'industrie que nous sommes en train de créer autour de la Basketball Africa League accessible pour les femmes. Et puis aussi le partenariat avec Special Olympics qui est un facteur d'inclusion pour nous, pour montrer que toutes les couches de la société doivent être impliquées par ce que nous sommes en train d'essayer de bâtir pour l'Afrique. La BAL reste encore cette ligue qui crée des synergies entre toutes les industries créatives. Nous allons avoir aujourd'hui à la mi-temps les performances de King Promise, un artiste superstar qui vient du Ghana. Et puis le 24 mai prochain, nous allons avoir un concert avec Bruce Melody et BNXN, un artiste qui est venu du Nigeria. Et nous appelons les fans à venir vraiment vibrer avec toutes ces équipes. Il y aura de très belles performances sur le terrain, mais aussi la fan zone où nous avons toute notre marchandise en display, et de venir nombreux, venir soutenir et participer à cette grande fête du basketball africain, cette grande fête de la culture et de l'unité pour l'Afrique.
Merci beaucoup, Amadou. I will take one last question.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rotimi Akinele from Nigeria. Question for Claire and Amadou very quickly. Following up on interest being shown by cities and by extension countries, with the BAL, are we likely to see the format change next season? And are we likely to have more teams? Also, following up on gender equality as well, how soon are we going to have a BAL for women? Just saying. And then for Amadou, if I'm going to add another feather to your current office as a president, talking to you as a pundit now, we saw quite a feisty and exciting tournament in the Sahara Conference. We saw that in Morocco as well. What are you expecting from the Nile Conference as it concerns the protagonists, like the teams now? What are you expecting from the teams in this particular conference? Thank you.
I think we'll start with Claire and then we'll conclude with Amadou.
Okay, thank you very much. Do we expect, I think your first question was, do we expect to see expansion of teams and cities, etc.? So I think the number of teams will remain, at least for now, the 12 teams that we see coming to play in BAL. But in terms of host cities, we always know and we announce after the season, so we'll be sharing that at that point. But in terms of our teams, it depends on who qualifies. I think we've seen new teams come every year, and so we'll see, who qualifies for the next season. But I think we expect that there will always be growth, always expansion, because we see more competition, more countries and more teams wanting to be part of the BL story, and we expect that to keep growing and to keep expanding, and new members of more teams coming in. In terms of the format, we're not changing the format for now, but we keep assessing where we are. We keep assessing where improvements need, and if we see that there's need for any improvement in the future, we will consider that. But for now, the format remains the same. Your second question about gender. So today we have the BAL is a male team, but we have a lot of women programs that are part of the BAL story. And for now, that's what we're really growing. And in future, who knows what will happen. But I think for now, we're really making sure that we're not leaving women behind in several ways. One, in terms of employment, if you look at the officials, including the referees, you will see women participating in BAL as well. But also programs to support women to access the game of basketball, from BAL for her workshops to support careers in sports, to clinics. We make sure junior NBA, for example, we have 50% women. And so we keep including women. And in future, we'll see what happens. Thank you.
Thank you. Amadou.
Thank you for the question. In terms of what we expect here in Kigali, what we expect is really to build on that momentum that we came into Kigali with, and even take it further, because we've had great success here in Kigali since the launch of the league. The fans have always come and have been present. Last year, we talked about it with the finals and playoff. Without a team from Rwanda, we almost sold out at all the games. There is a passionate fan base that has grown here, really in an authentic way, because they've, seen, they've lived it, and they will continue to come. So we expect that support, but also we expect on the court, fierce competition, because, obviously you have 3 new teams, but if I look at Al Ahly from Tripoli last year, the team that came from Libya made it to the finals, lost to Petro de Luanda, and I'm talking to the coaches from this team from Libya. They want to do, they want to do better than the team that came from Libya last year. So it's going to be very interesting. So, APR last year, had a unfortunate ending to the season. I think they were on track to, most likely qualify, but they lost their entire backcourt, in that last game, when they have, both their point guard and the shooting guard had suffered injuries that they couldn't come back to the game. I know the Nairobi City Thunders. I was in Nairobi during the road to BAL where they qualified. I see the energy that they've created in such a short period of time, and the support they get from their fans. And I've known, looking at their rosters, and really some talented local players, and they've added to it. They're well coached, so I think they will be here ready. MBB from South Africa, that is going to be coached by 1986 NBA champion Sam Vinson, who we know in Africa, coached South African national team, coached the Nigerian, national team, both the men and women. I believe in 2006 they were this close to being Germany. I think in the second round, a German team that had Dirk Nowitzki and Ime Udoka, today's coach of the Houston Rockets, was playing for the Nigerian team that Sam coached. Sam is a veteran coach, former NBA players. He won the NBA championship with the Boston Celtics in 1986, and he's excited about his team. So I'm seeing 4 teams that are all ready to go and excited for the competition. And just maybe a final note as we talk about growth in interest. One of the things that also we are really grateful for is the support that we are getting, at the highest level, in terms of public leaders and the private sectors. Claire talked about the new partners we saw coming in Senegal, but also to have the entire leadership of the country come to the games, from the president to the prime minister to the head of parliament, a number of cabinet ministers. And here we've always enjoyed that support here from President Kagame, who attend games with the First Lady. These are basketball fans who also understand that what the league is positioning as a platform to really empower young people to create an economic growth engine for the continent. This is something that I think resonate or should resonate with every country. So we're going to continue to, look at ways to have this engagement. And as Claire noted, there's interest in more countries to host the BAL, but we will move very strategically to continue to first maximize the opportunity we have in the countries where we play, but continue to really make sure that the product on the court continue to drive the interest around the league.
Thank you very much, Claire and Madhu. Dear colleagues of the press, with that we come to the end of this executive media availability. We can start taking our seats gradually at section 115 at the inner bowl of the arena. But for a reminder, the games this afternoon at 2:30 p.m. First-time BL participant made by basketball from South Africa will be playing against first-time BL participant Al Ali from Libya. And at 5:30 p.m., first-time BL participant the Nairobi City Thunders from Kenya will be playing against home team two-time BL participant Army Patriotic Rwandans basketball from Rwanda. And for us who meet during the post-game press conference, thank you very much for coming to support us, and see you at the games and events. Good afternoon.